Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. This will be a update slash giving information slash answering questions. So I just want to keep you guys up to speed of what I'm doing. So where to start? So I've started printing out my V1.8 parts. I'm going with a Iron Man theme. Not sure if I mentioned it in the previous videos, but I am. So I got some gold and silver Matter Hacker ABS. So I have some parts already printed here. They turned out really good. I mean, my parts are super clean. I can't believe that I started, like, y'all literally witnessed me started printing ABS on this channel, and look, like, my ABS parts are immaculate. Like, I don't know if it's printed forward quality from Voron's, but I'll say pretty close. I just got to work on where the top layer here is, but because this don't really bother me, it's not a big deal. But in terms of the side layers, oh my god, like, they are like immaculate. So even parts like this, look at that, it is so clean, like, it's insane. So so I have those printed. It's an Iron Man theme with a red frame, V1.8. So this printer, I gotta say, this little printer has so much potential, guys. It keeps this chamber, at least, like, after a while of printing, the enclosure in here gets about 48C to 50C depending. And I'm thoroughly impressed with this printer kicking out these type of parts, quality ABS parts. So again, my take on it is ABS is not hard to print. I know Nero 3DP has a ABS for dummies, but I mean, I really didn't follow his approach. But it's good information for those who are not sure how to print it. Honestly, as long as you have bed adhesion, which is my first issue. I tried it on glass, didn't work. I think I stated this in previous videos. I tried it on different other type of glass, didn't work. But this material here, that you get these sheets with Matter when you buy, I mean, not Matter Hackers, but anytime you buy Overture's PLA or PETG or ABS, you get these little bed stickers from them. These things are awesome. ABS stick to this stuff like insanely. Like, it sticks so much that in order to get my prints off the bed, I literally have to be using one of those spatulas. One of those spatulas you use to take your print off the bed. That's exactly what I have to be using to get it off. That's just how much it sticks. So for that reason, as long as you can get the ABS to stay down on your bed, it will print fine. No part cooling. The only time I use part cooling, if I notice there's an overhang, I will turn it on maybe like 20%. I wouldn't do more than 20% part cooling. But for the most part, most of the Voron design part don't require any part cooling. It bridged perfectly fine without any cooling. And so I'm very impressed with ABS. It prints really nicely. I would say, I would go as far as to say it prints nicer than PLA. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it prints nicer than PLA. That's how much it looks when you get a good part out of it. Another thing I've observed with it is also if you run your nozzle, if you're not printing ABS fast, it tends to, how should I put it? It tends to leave very like a weird scar on your prints, almost like the nozzle is sitting on the filament too long. Because remember, your nozzle is at 250, 260. So if it's sitting on that area too long, it tends to bubble up. So I recommend that you tune your printers and print ABS fast. Right now, this print ABS at 100 millimeters infill, 50 millimeters on the outer perimeters. So it prints it pretty fast, and my travel speeds are pretty quick too. As you know, it would just, as you see it switching back and forth quick. So I would say this: when you're printing ABS, do not print it slow. Try to get it print fast. The faster, the better. It seems to turn out the quality much better that way. And since I'm using clipper and input shaper, there's no vibration or anything like that in my prints. And then again, I'm using linear rails on both axes, so the movements are very smooth. Not much issue at all. So yes, this printer is, I'm just, like I said, I'm very thoroughly impressed with this printer, printing ABS, and myself also printing ABS for the first time, and to be kicking out ABS parts like this isn't thoroughly, I'm impressed. So yes, so that's knocking out some V 1.8 parts. Green Ender is going bye-bye. I'm selling it to a buddy just because I don't have enough space. I can't believe I have 8 printers. I'm only getting rid of one. I don't want to let it go, but I'm gonna have to let it go. But like I said, look how easy that goes down. Look, effortlessly. That's just how smooth. Look at that, effortlessly going down. Unfortunately, I just don't have enough room for it, and I have too much printer anyways, and I'm building 2 more. So, you know, I have one here. I'm keeping the yellow one. This was my first Ender 3 Pro. It's not Ender 3 Pro anymore, but this was my first one, so I'm keeping that one for like sentimental values. You know, the fact that this is my first printer. But I'm gonna get rid of this one. This was my second one, and you know, I'm giving it to a close friend of mine, selling it to a close friend of mine. I know where it's gonna be at. I know it's gonna be used. It's already pretty much decked out. There's nothing else to improve on this. Like, there's, you know, it's pretty much printing amazingly well. I mean, it printed this, for Christ's sake. Like, it printed this Godzilla out of PLA amazingly well, a 0.15 layer height. Like, so it prints amazingly well. So I don't have to really worry about it. It prints PETG as well all day long. So I'm definitely selling this just to have more space, and I'll just keep my single ender here, which is fine. What else? Made some update to the X5SA Pro. You hear me? Right? Yeah, X5SA Pro. I found out an issue. This is pro tip for those who are interested in this printer. I noticed I got a lot of question about this printer. Try to mount your spool holder. All right, so let me back up. If you're doing direct drive, try to have your feed point as simple as possible, because not only does your can your lead screws cause wobble and banding in your prints, but also the way you feed the filament also can cause that, because if your stepper motor is tugging on the filament and there's resistance on where it's pulling the filament from, that can cause layer inconsistency as well, like really bad layer inconsistency. So the setup I had prior to was not bad. It did good, but I realized sometimes my stepper will tug on it quite a bit to get the filament out. So I decided to print the Voron 2.4 spool holder and rigged up a spear extrusion I had here. So now my filament sits on top of here and it feeds down into it. I realized that works really well, and so my prints come out great. So as a result of that, I wish I had a print to show you that I printed with. As a result of that, just trust me on this. As a result, there's no layer inconsistency. It prints really freaking well. I might just insert a video as an example so you guys can actually see what it looked like. But yeah, it prints really, really well now. Another thing that also helped improve my layer consistency is I found this on Thingiverse. Let me see if I can show you guys here. So this, I saw this in, I think, VZ Bot video, where he decoupled the lead screw from the bed, right? So now that the lead screw is decoupled from the bed, this is what happens. See, now you can kind of wobble. It can wobble as much as it wants, but it doesn't introduce any wobble into the frame of the bed. So that also helped with that. So if if there's a wobble somehow, it will just cancel it out by this, because it's not directly attached to the frame anymore. So this is an awesome mod. This is like, I would say this is well recommended for anything running lead screw at this point. It's like an anti-wobble mod, like the Uverts, like similar to the Uvert mod with the magnet, but instead of magnet, this is just printed part. And it's oiled up. As you can see, it's well greased and oiled up, so it can move freely. Look at that. It moves free, as you can see. So it works just the same. You can do the fancy magnet one, but I went for this one. It's simple. It's a 3 printed part. I printed in PTG, and man, can I say it made a massive difference. Not only that, but I still have the ball bearing within the coupler. So between the coupler flexing and this flexing, I virtually have no banding whatsoever, all the way down to the maximum of the Z. Okay, so I just wanted to put that pro tip out there. So this machine prints amazing. I mean, like, I'm so happy with this machine, and I recommend anyone buying this machine. You don't have to go crazy with it. Just do a few mods, and I'm gonna go over it again. All you got to do, I did an SKR 1.4 turbo with 2209 stepper drivers, all 5. There's independent stepper drivers for each of my Z motor, so that allows me to do the Z tilt from clipper, that allow the bed to tram to the gantry and keep the Z motors in sync. The next thing I did was loosen these grub screws. See these 2 grub screws on each side and also on the carriage. Loosen them up before, when you're putting this together, loosen them up. Make sure you get a smooth motion. Look at this. It's so smooth. Like, I don't have to fight with it. It's very smooth. Like, so what you want this wheel here to barely, just barely grab the metal, because the problem is that from the manufacturer, it's very tight, so you don't need it tight. And what will happen is that if it's so tight, any type of fast movement would result in vibration in your print, these weird ripples in your print. So make sure these are like barely touching this metal. It just needs to touch it enough just to ride on the metal. Okay, and that's what I did. And same thing with this. You want to make sure your carriage, see if I can show you right there in this carriage thing, same thing, it has grub screw. Make sure that's nice and smooth on your x-axis. As long as that's done, that will fix a lot of that will fix a lot of the vibration issue you face. Okay, because remember, the metal rail is not perfectly like smooth. So if it's tight on there, every little angulation or little grunt it feels in the wheel is introduced into your whole print. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Just make sure this is not tight. You don't want it super tight. You just want it just to barely hit the side of this metal, and that's it. And what else did I do? Other than that mod, I didn't mount I took off the little stabilizer here. Whatever that is, do not put it on here, because what that does is that, like I said, without this mod and without the mod down there, if you put the stabilizer on the way everything is, you're gonna have banding, because the lead screw, the longer the lead screw is, it tends to not be straight. and any type of wobble is going to be directly introduced into your bed. So you might not see it, but as it goes up and down, as it makes the layer, it's going to shift the bed like this. It's going to barely shift the bed back and forth like this. You won't even see it, but you see it in the print. So do not put the little stabilizer thing that they have on here to keep the lead screw straight. Just take it off. That alone would improve your layer. But again, with the mod of putting a 6mm ball bearing between the lead screw and the stepper shaft, and then this extra mod now that I did with the by decoupling the lead screw from the frame of the bed, that also just helps eliminate everything. And of course, the feeding the spool correctly so it doesn't so your motor don't tug on it. Between all that mod, you have an awesome printer. So it doesn't take a lot of work, guys. It's like not rocket science at all. Just again, just go with the necessary mod, and this printer becomes super awesome and super reliable. It's right now my fastest printer right now. Like, you know, next to my Ender prints pretty quickly too, but in terms of acceleration, this thing I can go 20,000 K acceleration on this thing. It's just amazing, and I'm impressed with it. However, I don't print that fast with it on a daily. My average speed on it is more like, you know, 5K print speed with 150mm a second. That's my average print speed. If I want more like a cleaner speed, like a cleaner print, then I'll take it down a little bit on the acceleration, keep the speed the same, and the print comes out amazing. So it's one of my best machine here. I'm not getting rid of it. It's just, yes, super reliable. What else? The only upgrade I would suggest that I will do maybe later down the road, not right now because everything works, is the bed. I would get rid of this thin aluminum bed and get something like a MI6, like what the Vorons are using, maybe a thicker bed. I think that would also help fix some of the bed leveling issues as well, because the problem is that this is so thin, these aluminum bed so thin, they take long to heat up, and then they warp. Okay, so if you look at the mesh of this bed, it looks ridiculous. So no matter how you try to adjust it, it's not going to come out the best. So if you can replace this bed with something flat, like I said, an aluminum tool plate or something like that, then this would make even better machine and better consistency in your first layer. So, but so far I've dialed mine in. The bed is okay for now. I might replace it down the road, but so far I don't want to tinker with this. It's perfect as it is. So yeah, love this machine. Next update is I'm working on now replacing the bed. So I'm going with a smaller bed. Like I said, I'm gonna go with the 310mm bed over the 330. So this would just be a spare bed. I'll just put it somewhere, you know, put it up somewhere just in case that died. You know, I can use this. So yeah, so I'm gonna put this up for now. Who knows, maybe sell it, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll just keep it in the spare part bin for now. But I'm going with a smaller bed just because, like I said in previous video, when this is all the way back, it's like right here. The nozzle's like right around the 30mm mark. So I'm kind of not using the fullness of this bed. So I'm gonna shrink it to 310mm. And I think that will kind of leave about this much gap there, which I'm okay with. So yeah, it's a slightly smaller bed, but the same, you know, same print volume. So so yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and change that out and rerun the belt. Like I said, this belt was my fault. I guess this here, they're not quite lined up all the way. So I think the belt got snagged on one of these things and then caused a massive issue. So that's my fault. So I'm gonna have to rerun this whole belt again and get that fixed and make sure everything is lined up between here. So no big deal, easy fixed. So this will be done and then put away, and also finish the first switch wire I made. It's all now in ABS. Printed the front cover as well, so Voron, really nice. The only thing I noticed with the ABS from PTG, to be honest with you, is it's stiffer. I'll say this, it feels a lot more stiffer. As far as print quality or anything, nothing changed, honestly. Nothing changed, and I mean, it's to be expected. It's not going to change, but just for longevity reason, that I can see the ABS being a better bet here, because like I said, you can't, if you print out the part, if you have the parts printed in PETG, you can't print ABS with it because of the bed temperature. Once as soon as you hit 110 degrees, your PETG fan duct is gonna basically warp. It's not gonna be functional. But so basically you have to print ABS in order to print ABS, if you understand what I'm saying. You can't use PETG to print ABS. You know, it might be able to hold up just long enough for you to get some parts out, but it will definitely melt. But again, as far as replacing all the parts in ABS, I don't, you know, there's no difference in terms of rigidity or stiffness. I just feel that ABS is just a little bit more stiffer, a little bit more rigid, but that's about it. I couldn't tell the difference between the ABS parts. But the ABS parts does look really well, and I'm kind of happy I did it, and it's a solid machine all around. So I'm not tinkering with this anymore. This is done. So yeah, that's it. Completely ABS now, except for the front. These are PLA because I'm not enclosing anything. So this is just PLA here, but everything else in terms of the frame, rigidity, and everything is all ABS. This now, this is a work in progress. I did get it to print dual color extrusion. It works somewhat. I gotta dial this in. It's not working the greatest right now. Only because I'm still new to dual extrusion with one extruder. So there's some playing around you got to do with the Cura profile. And yeah, don't bring any other slicer to me. I only like Cura. I'm being honest. I'm very biased to Cura. To me, Cura as the easiest to use. To me, it's also the fastest because it allows you to unlock massive accelerations, which is why most people use Cura. And not that Super Slicer or Prusa Slicer don't work, but for me, Cura is just, in terms of pure raw speed, to me, with a G-code, it's too much, it's way better. But also for just like small tuning things, Cura is just straightforward to use. This is why I use Cura. Like I said, you guys can use any other slicer, but for me, Cura is only it. I don't look at any other slicer. There's a profile that I'm using right now. I think I'm using the I want to say one of the G-Tech A20M, one of those profiles. So I just need to tune it a little bit more and get used to the switching of the filaments and the distance of the switching. So a couple more things to iron out, but yeah. But right now, it kind of jammed a little bit, so I'm gonna have to fix that. But I'll say this: they did updated the dual extrusion STL, because the one that I printed out prior to had a small, when you push the bolting tube in, it had a small gap of where the bolting tube stopped on the inside of the head. Now the new one, the recent update, it seems they made, the bolting tube go much further, like double the spacing. So that helped a lot with when it comes to changing the filament back and forth. That seemed to really help with the problem. So for anybody attempting to do this, the latest version of the STL is on the Voron Switchwire folder of the STL on GitHub. So you can do that one, and that will help a lot too. So, but this is a work in progress. No worries, I'll get it working. But for now, you know, I just got to tune that and play with that. And as you can see, finally got my spider board in. I kind of opened it a little bit. So this is for my Voron 1.8. As you can see, it hasn't been open yet. So that's going to be later down in the summer to build that. Right now I'm focused on the V1.8. I got all the parts here. Look at this. It's just insane how much parts I've piled up here. I pretty much got everything, except I'm still waiting on the silicone heated bed. That's the only thing I'm waiting on. So that's going to hold me back a little bit. But that won't stop me from actually doing the first part of the build by putting the frame together. So I'll do a video sometime this coming week doing that. Well, of course, after I finish that first. I'm going to have to get that done today. But yeah, so that's coming. Also got two pancake steppers, as these gonna be, both of them gonna be direct drive. So I use Stepper Online motors. I love their motors. They never failed me. So I'm using Stepper Online motors here. And yeah, so gotta wait on that stuff to come in. A few little items left, and I gotta buy a ton of screw, guys. Like next week, I gotta order a buttload of M5, M3s, a ton of M5 and M3 screws, especially 8 and 10 millimeters, because it seemed that you need a lot of that for these builds. So I gotta order all that in. But yes, guys, so that's it. I know someone asked about the what I think about the Triple Z kinematics. I'll say this: it's awesome. Triple Z is awesome. It fix in terms of bed leveling. It will help in terms of leveling out your bed better than just having the 2 lead screw balancing out. So it will help really level out your bed good. But also quad gantry leveling, which is in the V2.4, is also good too. I don't think one of them is better than the other, because since you have 4 axes and 3 axes, it doesn't really matter. I think 3-axis plane is slightly better based on scientific research. But again, they both accomplish the same thing. It's just whichever you prefer. So yeah, triple axis. If you can triple Z this thing, if anybody can triple Z this thing, that would be freaking awesome. But if it's gonna be a headache, I wouldn't recommend it. But unless you're unless you can just go ahead and build one of those open source printer with triple Z already designed in it, like a BLV cube or something like that. But so far, yes, guys, a lot more work, a lot more video to come. So yeah, that's it, guys. Just the updates for now. I'll definitely post a video sometime this week, maybe next Thursday or Friday, when I'm putting up the frame for the V1.8. Thank God for this desk. I know it's a lot of stuff all over here. I just have like screws and everything, but this desk is going to be up for a while just because I got so much to build. And so but yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Again, thanks for subscribing. Make sure you like and comment, hit the notification bell. There's more videos to come, guys, more content to come. Keep in mind, I also build PCs. I haven't updated my PC in a while, so also that's coming, guys. For those who are into PC water cooling, that's coming as well. So I'm not done. There's a lot of content, a lot of nerd stuff. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.